council want to thank everybody for being here. If you'll rise for the invocation by Councilman Henderson.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all things. We thank you for the very breath of life. We thank you for this place and time that you have put us in, that we might deliberate the affairs of the city of Seaford. We ask that we deliberate with open minds and open hearts, clearly and without prejudice, and that the end result be pleasing in your eyes. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Okay, as a reminder to council tonight, we will have an executive session following our regular meeting. Do we have any changes to tonight's agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, one thing I will note a change on, there is one meeting listed down at the bottom. The SCAT Legislative Breakfast is on here as April 26th, and it's really Friday, April 29th, just so everybody has it on their calendar, right? If we can note that. Okay, you've all received the minutes from our last meeting. If there are no questions or comments, I'll accept the motion to receive the minutes.
Councilman Holland, Mr. Mayor, I make that motion.
And we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, to start off our meeting tonight, I'm going to call up Chief Kraft to introduce our newest police officer. With authority.
Good evening. So I'll keep it brief. Cody Levis, if you could come up for a minute. Cody came to us. He hailed from the United States Marine Corps. He served from 2017 to 2021. And as he tells me, I was in the Navy, we used to give him rides. No respect. But no, he is doing a fantastic job. He did a great job in the Delaware State Police Academy. He's already been on the street now for a few weeks. He's already been seized a weapon from an individual, drugs, been in a foot pursuit, and has been fully exposed. He was out on nylon running radar today. So, I mean, he's doing a fantastic job. And if you could, I'd like to introduce you to our council member. You know Mayor Genshaw here in the front, City Manager Charles Anderson, Vice Mayor Dan Henderson, he's our police liaison, Councilman Jose Santos, Councilman Orlando Holland, Councilman Matthew McCoy, and Councilman James King.
Welcome aboard.
Hey, if you could, make your way around and introduce yourself, shake hands.
Walk the plank.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Glad to have you, man. Appreciate it. Welcome aboard. Welcome. Thanks for your service. Yes.
Did you want? Next, we're going to invite up Director Mr. Bill Bennett from Electric Department to present him with some awards. One of the awards is for safety, and last year we had 20,320 hours of safe, no accident work, so we want to present him with that award, and we also have the award for
reliability.
There you go. Where I want you? Sprawl across the front of the table. truly one of the highlights of this job is when we can invite new employees on board, and then to celebrate our electric department for being safe, but also we're fortunate in our city to very rarely lose power, and when we do, our guys or gals are out there right away to get it back on. So thank you again, Mr. Bennett. Appreciate it. Okay, do we have any correspondence?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, first under new business, we have Mr. Chris Smith here with us tonight. We're going to invite him up to walk us through the insurance renewal. Mrs. Merritt says, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time this evening. Just have I'd like to read a little bit about the benefit program, success we've had this last year in controlling the health care costs for the city, and also the recommendation for the renewal for the 2022-2023 plan year. On behalf of the city, on behalf of the staff of Integra Administrative Group, we'd like to thank the city of Seaford and for their continued confidence in our organization as the administrator of the city's employee benefit programs. The current year, 2021 and the 2022, which includes medical, prescription, dental, vision, hearing, and life insurance, are running approximately 10% below the current year's projected costs and 25% below the maximum cost projections. The benefits are managed through a variety of programs to provide enhanced member services and to mitigate cost. These programs include wellness, telemedicine, free generic prescriptions, prescription manufacturing coupon and copay assistance programs, and case and chronic health care management. The current projected plan costs for 2022-2023 are 7% less than the 2022 Siegel Health Plan Cost Trend Survey, which forecasts medical and prescription inflation trend to be 7.3% for 2022. The blended 3-year average projected increase for the city is 2.1% compared to the projected increase average from the Siegel report for the same period of 4.3%. Benefit renewal recommendations. Integra requested proposals from 7 insurance carriers rated A or better by the AM Best rating agency. We presented the top 4 insurance carriers for consideration. Nationwide, which is converting to North American Specialty, which is A+. It's the incumbent program. They have Zurich, which is A+, Pan American A, and Sirius Point A-. Based upon the benefit renewal meeting and subsequent correspondence, the recommendation is to accept the North American Specialty Renewal Option 4A with a projected cost increase of 0.05%, that's again less than 1%, and a projected maximum cost decrease of 0.85% for the 2022-2023 benefit plan year. There is an additional benefit with the North American Specialty Premiums Reward Program. It includes a refund of premium paid if the carrier's paid claims costs are lower than is estimated. The 2022-2023 possible maximum refund is estimated to be $33,900. The city would need to renew with North American Specialty next year to qualify for the premium refund. The city is in line for the current year to receive a premium refund of approximately $20,200 this benefit year due to better than expected claims experience, and this would be paid in January of 2023. In regards to the retiree program, the retiree benefits are insured through the Hartford Group Retiree Trust, and the renewal for the Medicare eligible retiree program, it runs on a calendar year. It's January 1 of 2022. The rate increase was 2%. And the 2022 retiree monthly member rate is $520.41. The retiree dental and vision programs are administered by Integra. And on the life insurance, we are in a 2-year contract with Sun Life, and those net rates are firm until September 1 of 2023. There's some additional programs that we have included that their members have access to help control costs and provide services. So are there any questions that I can answer for you today?
Any questions from council in regards to the benefits? Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, Is the rebate program calculated into your analysis? I mean, were the others close, were the others less, but you're considering the rebate as part of your analysis if you keep that vendor?
Yeah, so it's not included in the original analysis, but in the renewal analysis, if we are expecting to receive that premium refund, we will incorporate that into the projected claim discount, but not in the fixed cost.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? Any other pages you need to go through, or you're?
No, that's the only thing that I have right now.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's incredible that the cost, I mean, I know in my own personal insurance and other companies, boy, that's incredible, the cost to remain that flat. So if there are no other questions, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to accept the recommendation of Mr. Chris Smith with Integra, the city's third-party administrator, and approve option 4A from North American for the 2022 health insurance renewal as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Santos. Is there a second?
Councilman King, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Santos?
Aye.
Councilman Henderson?
Aye.
Councilman Holland?
Aye.
Councilman McCoy?
Aye.
And Councilman King?
Aye.
Thank you so much. It's unanimous. Thank you so much for your work on this. You really
Thank you.
Thank you.
represent
Thank
our
you,
city
Councilman
well.
Smith.
Thank you.
Good seeing you. Thank you.
Okay, next we have the letter requesting extinguishing portion of Sycamore Street.
Okay, Mayor, Council has in their package a letter from Wolf Associates, Mr. Craig Alamon, who is acting as the closing attorney. And in the audience, I believe we have Mr. David Ball, who actually is, has requested this request to come forward from council. And to give a summary of what's being requested here, Mr. Ball, his company, Square One, owns all the properties around this alley. I'll call it Sycamore Street. It's a paper street because it's shown on the Sussex County tax maps. You'll see there at the bottom of what's in the board pack, there's a survey of it. And because he does own all of the property around it, it's not improved and it has no utilities in it, it's just grass. He has requested, would the council consider allowing him to quit claim this property? We have done this in the past with old alleys that we don't use for infrastructure or that are not paved for access to any properties. Mr. Ball, would you like to come up and add anything, maybe answer any questions that the council might have? There is a picture, I believe, in your package. So that's basically where it is. I did send this out to the Director of Public Works and the Director of Electric. We do not have any water or sewer lines in it, nor do we propose to put any water or sewer lines in it. As shown here in the picture, though, we do have a guy wire from that pole that the Director of Electric is necessary to maintain. So he is requesting that we get an easement, if council decides to proceed with this, to permit that guy wire to stay. And if we need to replace the guy wire at some point, we would replace it. So I did work backwards with the attorney, and the attorney said it would be no problem if this proceeds to provide the city back an easement. Mr. Ball, have I skipped anything that might be salient to this point, or?
No, not really. Just as a bit of an explanation behind this, as you all know, Brad Kaufman, who just became on the planning and zoning, he does a lot of local builds. He's looking to build some new 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes on this. And that little alleyway, that grass alleyway, without that incorporating into these lots wouldn't give him quite enough square footage, but with this, it would be perfect for what he's looking to do. I know he's been in touch with Mike Bailey about the specifications, and I believe you, Mr. Anderson, but he's, looking to take these lots over and build on them. So if possible, it'd be great to get a quick calm deed. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are any questions from Councilman King?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Good seeing you.
You too.
So, if I understood you correctly, if the city, this goes through and the city gives this property, it's contingent on this property would be sold? Correct. The house would be put on the property?
That's correct. Yeah, Mr. Kaufman would purchase the the lots from square one. And I'd have to check with Craig, and I guess he would do a little more legwork with Mike Bailey and make sure that all the square footage works, but I think he pretty much got all that to a T, as long as this is incorporated to be able to build 3-bedroom, 2 baths once he purchases.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions from council?
I have a question for the city
Councilman
manager.
Henderson?
Go ahead, Councilman.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead, yep, go right in.
How long have you been maintaining that property?
We bought that property, I forget the exact month, but it was 2017. And on that property, we are going to be sprucing up and updating that house that we own there on lot 67.
How long have you been cutting the grass and maintaining it?
Since we've
Since
owned
then?
it. Yeah, since then.
Thank you.
Councilman King?
Yeah, I guess my question would be, is there any value to the property? So instead of the city granting or giving property, would it make sense to put a price on that and present it and see if there would be interest instead of giving it away?
You're asking me,
Yes.
sir?
Mhm.
Okay. It's an alley, and it's 20 feet wide by, looking at the survey here, 170.19 feet long. So it wouldn't be a standalone lot. It's too narrow to build a lot on, or a house on, I apologize. And so we really couldn't sell it to anyone else other than the adjacent property owner or owners. The city has done this in the past with a couple of these old coal alleys or old paper streets to try to help developers move it along. And if we have no intention of utilizing it for access or utilities, we have just worked with the property owner to give it to them in the past. Now, having said that, our agreement with them always has been that they take care of all the cost associated with doing the land transfer. So all we do is basically sign the paperwork. Just because it's not a lot, it has no utility to anyone else but the adjacent property owner. So I'm not really sure what the value would be, sir.
Sure. And I guess the reason I'm asking that as a taxpayer, as a resident, somebody in the community, does it make sense to give something away with no attached value versus trying to generate some income to put back into if it's the general fund or reserves or whatever it is? I'm just saying, as a resident, as a taxpayer, does it make sense to give it away, or is it just try to get something for the property?
I mean, certainly if the council's direction back to staff is to work with the attorney and the seller purchaser to establish a value, we certainly can do that. If the sale falls through and they don't want to maintain it anymore, as Councilman Henderson pointed out, if we have to start cutting the grass going forward, that's a cost and manpower we would have to bear. But we cut a lot of alleys, we cut a lot of right-of-ways.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Councilman Santos?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Normally, I'm not in favor of giving away land because, the land belongs to the taxpayers. But seeing with the information that you provided that this would allow for other properties to be built, that's different. And seeing as you've been maintaining the grass already, and I don't see a problem with this one. But if the scenario was different, if this was not necessary to build a house, then I would be aligned with Councilman King. It's land that belongs to the constituents. I think at that point it would be better if you guys came in with a fair price. But seeing the situation that's been presented in front of us, I feel like it's better to have a house there than just it's better to create some opportunities.
Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Holland, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the request of Square One to extinguish a portion of Sycamore Street adjacent to Sussex County Tax Map and Parcel 531-13.10-65.00, 531-13.10-66.00, and 531-13.10-67.00, and permit the combination of this land with the adjacent parcels as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Holland. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Councilman McCoy seconds. Are there any questions on the motion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Holland?
Aye.
Councilman McCoy?
Aye.
Councilman King?
Aye.
Councilman Santos?
Aye.
Councilman Henderson?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr. Ball. Appreciate it.
Mr. Ball.
All right, next we're going to invite up Director Bennett again. Look at the bucket truck.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager.
Good evening.
I know I'm here for one other thing, but I do want to thank you for your support for the presentation earlier this evening. Your support in training and infrastructure is what makes those two awards able to achieve for the city of Seaford.
Thank you.
So thank you. What I want to talk to you about tonight is ask you to consider something. There's a program called Sourcewell. It's sort of like the state bid, where they go out and get specs on a truck and bid the trucks. Right now, new bucket trucks take 2 to 4 years to get one delivered once a purchase order is given. I'd like the council to consider letting us use this program, the Sourcewell program, to purchase trucks. The program is similar to the state bid list, which we have used to purchase police vehicles in the past. We've also used Sourcewell, formerly known as NJPA, to purchase phone systems and some other items in the past. Sourcewell has several vendors that manufacture bucket trucks and digger derrick trucks. They have standard spec trucks in the system. And then we would be able to make changes to compartments or accessories to build the truck to our specifications. This would streamline the ordering process, lower our cost to order trucks by eliminating advertising costs and manpower time to write the bid documents, mail it out, open the bids, and then bring it back to council for approval on a bid. If council would approve that using Sourcewell tonight, we would still bring back the competitive pricing to council for approval before we bought a truck. It would speed things up. Bids extended a couple months and a lot or more and a lot of work. The trucks we have now, most of our trucks are Altech. Altech is participates in Sourcewell, and VersaLift is another trucks we've had in the past, also participates. So it would speed things up and try to help us keep us on our schedule. Several years ago, the big buckets got put on a 15-year schedule. The derrick digger truck's a 20-year schedule, and the service truck's an 8-year replacement schedule. So actually on a 2-year replacement, a year from now, I should be ordering the service truck so it gets here,
Right.
on time to stay on our replacement schedule.
Okay, and there's no cost to this?
There's no cost. We're members, and there's no cost to be a member. Somebody years ago filled out the paperwork and sent it in. So there's no annual cost to be in this. I tell them, like, truck 3 is due to be replaced. I tell them we're interested in a 55-foot bucket truck with a jib on it, and they come there with a basic price. We may change some compartments or, make minor changes like that, put a reel on it or whatever. They just add those prices in. They have like item numbers for each kind of change. So in a week, I can get a price from one of these vendors for the truck that we want. And then as long as it's in the budget, in 2 weeks after that, I could bring it back to you to get it approved, get the PO. So,
Okay. All right, are there any questions for Director Bennett in regards to Sourcewell? If not, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve the request of Bill Bennett, Director of Electric, to use the Sourcewell procurement process to purchase a utility bucket truck for the electric department as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman McCoy. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Councilman Santos seconds. Any questions on the motion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman McCoy?
Aye.
Councilman King?
Aye.
Councilman Santos?
Aye.
Councilman Henderson?
Aye.
And Councilman Holland?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Mr. Bennett. Appreciate it. All right, we have a request from the Election Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. In council's package, we do have a letter from Kenny Bo McDowell, Sussex County Director of the Delaware Department of Election. And in this letter, he's outlining on September 13th, there's going to be a primary election. And one of the locations for a polling place is City Hall. And there's a scheduling conflict on that date because we have council meeting on that date. It's the second Tuesday of the month. So in the past, we've accommodated elections by setting up the voting machines, in the lobby. And people come in, they vote. It does cause some confusion. Also our building's open because we don't close for election day as some of the schools do, things of that nature. In the recent past, in the last 3 years, we've set up the council room. We've brought people in the back door. They voted, and then they went out the side door. And that really seems to work well, especially during COVID times when we didn't have people passing each other, and we were able to spread people out. So Mr. McDowell has asked if we would consider accommodating them and not having the council meeting. So in your package, you see, we did some research on that, and we wrote a memo. Trish and I spoke with the attorney about this, and there are 3 options open to council should you want to make a change. We can hold the meeting on a different day. Our charter does say we have to meet the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of each month. So if you desire to meet on a Monday or a Wednesday that week, we would have to do a resolution because it is written in the charter. So we could do that. You could ask staff to prepare that resolution, and we would do that. You could cancel the meeting for that date and not have a council meeting. You could also, one other item to consider is instead of meeting a regular meeting for council at 7 o'clock, we could meet at 8. Now, the polls don't close until 9, so I think that option, while we could do it, it's a lot later, and we would still probably have people moving in and out the voting machines, and if they had a problem, that might be a conflict. So just a couple other things I'll say. We do have a lot of business for council, so I think probably the best option would be to consider to reschedule it. Mondays are brutal for meetings because we have all our day meetings with liaisons. I would recommend it if council wants to consider that option. Wednesday would probably be best for staff as something to consider. The only other comment I'll make is that the primary election is September 13th, but the general election is Tuesday, November 8th, and that also is a conflicting day. So I presume Mr. McDowell has only asked for the primary at this point, but I would presume he would probably submit another letter for Tuesday, November 8th this year. So I would suggest council consider, if we're going to go ahead and do a resolution to reschedule the meeting, we consider both those dates this year.
So that would be November 9th and September 14th.
Yes, sir. I see how you're doing it. Yep.
Yep, I just went backwards. Okay, are there any questions in regards to the primary election on September 13th and changing our meeting date? Councilman King?
I have one comment. Charles and I discussed this in our liaison meeting, and I think it's important because I asked a question, well, why don't we just move, right? Why don't we just have the meeting in another room? And the live stream is a requirement, so that was a solution that we couldn't land on because it's not as simple as us just, us having the break room that night.
Ms. Newcomer asked that we not mention that because
okay.
that gives her stress.
Okay. But I mean, we have to live stream.
That's a good point. Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Mayor, actually, give me 1 second. I have to include November 9th in here. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accommodate the primary elections on September 13, 2022, and use the council room for voting machine replacement, and to request a resolution be drafted that would hold the regular council meeting on Wednesday, September 14, 2022, as presented, and to accommodate the
Election.
to accommodate the election of the general election on November 9, 2022, and use the council room for voting machine placement, and to request that a resolution be drafted that would hold the regular council meeting on Wednesday, November 10th, 2022, as presented.
Let's change the dates. The general election is November 8th, and so we would move to Wednesday, November 9th.
Okay. Yeah, we'll change those two dates.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Santos. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman McCoy seconds. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Santos.
Aye.
Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Councilman Holland.
Aye.
Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman King.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. So you'll
We'll
produce.
bring back a resolution at the next council meeting. sir.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Next, we have cleanup bids.
Okay, so the Director of Public Works did receive 2 bids for cleanup week services. So we received a bid from Waste Industries at $180 per pull with a total price of $23,400, and Republic Services at $248 per pull for a total price of $25,440. The Director of Public Works has worked with Waste Industries before and is recommending that we award the bid to Waste Industries, the low bidder for these services.
Okay, are there any questions in regards to the cleanup bid? If not, I'll accept the motion.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Councilman King, I'll make a motion to award the bid for Cleanup Week 2022 to Waste Industries in the amount of $180 pool for a total estimated bid amount of $23,400 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman King. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
Okay, are there any questions on the motion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman King.
Aye.
Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman Holland.
Aye.
Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Councilman Santos.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, next we have the bids on the sports utility vehicle. Of course, Chief.
I'll be brief. So we put Seaford Police Department posted a bid notice for either a 2021 or 2022 front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive vehicle. As a result, there were 2 bidders, Hertrick Fleet Services and I.G. Burton of Seaford. Hertrick's proposed a 21 Ford Escape Hybrid all-wheel drive with all the standard features to include all-weather floor liners, cargo mats, and the vehicle will be delivered in 2 weeks at a price of $26,537. I.G. Burton proposed a 2022 Chevrolet Equinox. It's a front-wheel drive. It has all the standard features. It does not come with the all-weather mats and cargo mats, and it's $25,975. The estimated delivery time for that vehicle is June 15th, 2022. Normally, we would recommend the low bidder. There's $562 difference between the low and high bidder. We would have to spend about $200 to purchase the all-weather mats and liners. So we're recommending to go with the higher bidder in this case because it's a hybrid, it's all-wheel drive. It would suit our needs better to respond in all weather, 10 miles to the gallon better, and we could have it in 2 weeks for council's considerations.
Okay, are there any questions in regards to the sport utility vehicle bid? If not, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, if I can find it here. There it is. Make a motion to award the bid for the 2021-2022 front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive sports utility vehicle to Hertrick Fleet Services Incorporated in the amount of $26,537 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman King, I'll second that motion.
Okay, Councilman King seconds. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Councilman Santos.
Aye.
Councilman King.
Aye.
Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman Holland.
Aye.
It's unanimous, Chief. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, next we'll call up Mr. Jett to go over the recommendations for the Conwell Green Streets. I feel like we've been talking about this project for years and years now.
I'm hoping this ends it. We've been before you a couple of times with the design, with the discussion, with the request to bid. We sent it out to bid. We received 1 bid. It was a little bit higher than our cost estimates. We've been running into that across the board. I recently bid a project in Laurel and had to bid it twice just to get 1 bid out of people. It's been a problem with timeline. They're so busy, they just can't accommodate the work anymore. So we're requesting approval of this bid. We currently have most of the money procured. Lisa Wool with NWA and myself are scrambling every minute of the day to try to gap the fund, or fund the gap there. We had a good conversation today trying to do that with DEMA, so.
Okay. All right, are there any questions for Mr. Councilman Henderson?
So I see, if we don't take action tonight, you're gonna lose your $70,000 in grant funding.
Correct.
So that just makes the project that much more expensive.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think you got a competitive bid. Prices are up.
Right.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah.
I don't think this potential vendor knew that he would be the only bidder, so I think it was competitively bid.
Right.
We sent it to 20 people.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, any other questions from Councilman King?
How big is the gap? You mentioned the gap. How big is that
It's
gap?
about $90,000 right now.
90, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Which, honestly, what I'm hoping for is, I have a pot of money for the Laurel project, and I have a pot of money for this project out of Chesapeake Bay Trust money from DNR that NWA secured. What I'm hoping is other money that was earmarked for other projects is having similar issues, and they've decided not to move forward. So some of the cushion change can come back and maybe fund the gap straight with Chesapeake Bay Trust money.
Okay.
So that would be the greatest,
Sure.
easiest thing to do.
But you're confident that this isn't, the 90,000 is not an issue? You'll find it somewhere.
It's going to cause a couple more gray hairs, but I think we can find it, and I think we can finish the product or the project as we designed it without having to manipulate anything. It might be the fall. There might be a few things that we install now with the initial $70,000 come back later and potentially do the end of the street, but I think we can get it done.
Okay, good, thank you.
So I'll accept the motion to move the money from the Laurel project to the Seaford project. Is that what
I'll second,
Did I hear
the
that
motion.
right?
Yeah.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to accept the recommendation of Mr. Brent Jett, PE with George Miles and Burr, and award the Conwell Street Green Infrastructure Installation Project to Chesapeake Turf LLC in the amount of $253,429 with project funding provided by grant funding as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman McCoy. Is there a second?
Councilman Henderson, I second.
Okay, are there any questions on the motion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman McCoy.
Aye.
Councilman Holland.
Aye.
Councilman Henderson.
Aye.
Councilman Santos.
Aye.
Councilman King.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. We're looking forward to this. Is going to be a heck of an improvement downtown. I think we're all really looking forward. Thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next I'm going to call up Mrs. Newcomer to go over the Economic Development Committee in regards to River Place.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
Evening. Drop the mic.
Drop the mic, right?
Drop the mic.
This evening, we have joining us is Mr. David Perlmutter, representing Residences at River Place LLC. We took before the Economic Development Committee on Friday a request from them to reset and modify their current tax abatement and future tax abatement. So just to kind of reference you what buildings we're talking about, where they're located, you can see on the screen Water Street is down at the bottom, South North Street, and I've indicated buildings 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the lot with building 2 is the pool and clubhouse as well. Just a little bit of a background. In phase 1, it was completed in 2017. That was the 36-unit building with the pool house, the club. Phase 2 was the second building that was completed in December of 2019. Phase 3 is currently underway, as many of you have seen, and getting larger by the day. They anticipate that they'll have occupancy in November on that building, and then anticipate rolling right into building 4, which would be that lot closest to Middle Ford Road, adjacent to Building 3, with anticipated occupancy for that building in 2024. So they had submitted a request to have their incentive reset or modified. They are participating in a similar program in the city of Salisbury, what is referred to as the Horizon Program. That's a 20-year abatement program, and the committee talked about that a little bit as well. The request is to additionally include buildings 3 and 4 in this reset. And just to bring you back to center where they are with their current abatement. So they received a 10-year tax abatement on Building 2. It was the first building that went up, but it's technically Building 2. I know that's a little crazy. That started in July 2017. Then there were some modifications to the property. It was subdivided, so we had to come back, modify that, and then do for Building 1 with the pool and the clubhouse, and that began in 2019. And then council approved an additional incentive in August of 2020 for Building 3. And those abatements, so the way that it's structured, it's a full abatement only on the improved portion. So they're paying the land value in taxes currently. It's just the abated amount is on the improvements. So years 1 through 5, there's no taxes on those improvements. And then it goes up 20% annually each sequential year, beginning in year 6, so that in year 10, they would pay that full value. What they're requesting is to have this reset for the buildings 1, 2, the pool, the clubhouse currently. So they would start in year 1, and then buildings 3 and buildings 4, they'd like the same consideration. However, those would commence with their certificate of occupancy. So assuming building 3 receives their certificate of occupancy in November, that would start their year 1. Building 4, the anticipation is 2024. So our director of finance was able to run, I believe you have in your board pack, excuse me, what that scenario what's the scenario looks like, and what that overall tax abatement value at the end of the 10-year period looks like. To date, with the current abatement, as of February 2nd, actually, they've realized about $187,000 in tax abatement value. So going forward, we used the valuation for Building 3 and 4 based on the application that they put forward for the DDD for what that value of the building would be. So that's about a $7 million building. Did you have a question, sir?
I'd like to emphasize that the $187,000 is inclusive of tax credits, not just tax abatement, right? Because there's some other.
That is just the tax abatement piece. There have been additional incentives. You are correct. We have given additional incentives.
So that's just the
That's
tax.
the abatement tax.
Okay.
Yes.
'Cause it's kind of confusing with the language there. It says amount of tax credits / abatement realized.
Right, yeah.
So Trish, with that being said, do you have the total number at the 187,000?
What the incentives,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
So to date, based on all of the incentives that council has approved, they vary from fee waivers to labor and electric waivers. Aside of this figure, so that is calculated into this. It's $624,187.06. That is inclusive of the 187. And I don't know, Mr. Perlmutter, did I cover everything? Was there anything that you wanted to add on behalf of your project?
If anyone has questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay. Are there any questions from council? No? Any questions for Director Newcomer? Okay, if there's not, I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the Economic Development Committee to approve a request from the Residences at River Place LLC for a tax abatement reset on buildings 1, 2, and Clubhouse, parentheses 601 Water Street, Sussex Tax Map Parcel Number 431-5.00-314.03, 701 and 721 Water Street. Sussex map tax parcel number 431-5.00-314.00, and a tax abatement request for buildings 3 and 4, parenthesis 159 South North Street, Sussex tax map parcel number 431-5.00-318.00, and 149 South Market Street, Sussex tax map parcel number 431-5.00-323.00, as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Santos. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
Okay, are there any questions on the motion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Santos?
Aye.
Councilman Henderson?
Aye.
Councilman Holland?
Aye.
Councilman McCoy?
Aye.
Councilman King?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Okay, is there any old business?
No, sir.
Okay, reminder of meetings.
So we have the SCAT Legislative Breakfast, April 29th, 9 a.m. at the Cheer Center in Georgetown. And then we have the municipal election this Saturday, April 16th. As most are aware, there's David Genshaw has filed for re-election for mayor. Councilman Matt McCoy has filed for re-election as councilman. Pat A. Jones has filed for mayor, and Stacy Witt Spicer has filed for council. That's all I have, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll start off with our liaison reports. We'll start with administration. Councilman Santos?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Meetings that were intended were the pre-construction meeting for the Route 13 sewer expansion project. That's set to start in a couple of weeks, and it's an 8-month project. They hosted a developer that wants to look at commercial housing, the commercial housing project here in Seaford. There's been developers from Newcastle and surrounding areas that have seen the growth in the city of Seaford, and they're interested in coming over here. The staff met with Top Shelf Entertainment, the movie filming schedule for the spring, summer. They met with the chief, and there's certain places that they're not. The chief didn't feel too comfortable with them filming, but the thing's still going on. For the IT report, there was a meeting to start the process of fully implementing Carbon Black. Gary's been really busy this past few weeks rerouting fiber optic cables, and when they were installing the camera switch for antennas going onto the firehouse tower, I believe at the panel, they discovered a lot of fiber optic cable that needed to be relabeled and well, Gary's been very busy with that these past few weeks. They've been working on the fiscal year 2023 budget, and all other business is routine.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Police Fire. Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a report that's listed in great detail from Chief Wilson. I'll get the highlights. There are 286 fire calls to date, for an average of 2.8 fire calls per day so far in 2022. There are 30 fire calls so far in April for an average of 2.7 calls per day. There are 1,156 calls to date for EMS services, for an average of 11.4 EMS calls per day. There are 102 EMS calls so far in April, for an average of 9.2. Total calls are 1,442 to date, for an average of 14.2 calls per day. There's some other data here, but since my voice is not holding up too good, I'll let you review that. I will note, under apparatus, pardon, the Tower 87 is still out of service. An agreement has been made with Station 70, Bethany Beach Fire Company, for the use of their Pierce-Quint 70-4 engine, or Quint. According to Pierce, is the manufacturer of the apparatus. A Quint fire truck is an apparatus that combines the equipment capabilities of a ladder truck and the water pumping ability of a fire engine. As its name applies, it features 5 main tools to carry out firefighting functions, and that's pump, water tank, fire hose, aerial device, and ground ladders. We're very grateful to Station 70 for the use of this equipment while repairs are made to Tower 87. So Bethany Beach has the resources to lend this equipment because they have redundant equipment. They have 3 aerial devices or apparatus due to the high rises that they have in their locale. So the
You can't miss it.
the chief, yeah, it's yellow and white. You won't be able to, you can't be able to miss it. So there's a number of significant calls. One significant was on 4-5 where it was out of the city on Nat Turner Street, an outbuilding which someone was actually residing in. That was the total loss of the structure. I'm not aware that there was a casualty. They got out safely or without serious harm. So the other important thing I want to it didn't make it in. I thought I had it in here, but I would like to, for some reason, oh, here it is. On April 3rd, the State Fire Prevention Awards at Cheswold Fire Company, Seaford Central Elementary 3rd grader Gia Forston was presented with 3rd place as a state winner for the fire prevention essay. So congratulations to Gia. That's great. So moving on, there's some, in EMS, there's some promotions or some activity that the new career lieutenant will start their orientation, so it gives you shift assignments there. But I'll move on to Seaford Police Department. The data for 2022 year-to-date is in the left-hand column for a total complaints of 2,411. I moved down to under the heading of criminal. There are 319 all crimes, and you'll see the distribution of felony, misdemeanor, violations, civil, and other. Thank you so much. 84% clearance rate, which the chief tells me the national average, if you have anything over 80%, is a high mark. So we're happy to see that rating's 84, and we're looking forward to see it go even higher. So under drug complaints, there were 59 total drug complaints with 50 adult arrests and no juvenile arrests. And prosecution decline was 9, and there was 1 overdose. Under traffic, there were 433 traffic contacts resulting in 100 citations and 22 warnings. No DUIs during this period with 42 crashes, 1 injury, 22 non-reportable, and 19 reportable. There were 6 hit-and-run crashes, vehicle crashes. No pedestrian crashes during this period. Under significant events, there are several here involving firearms and drug paraphernalia, possession, and other
crimes that I'll let you review at your leisure. Under events, the chief attended the Gemstone Prom on March 26th. I believe the mayor was there as well. Maybe some other people I don't know about, but that's a great event for the city to put their efforts behind, to be represented there. There was also the chief and the deputy chief also attended the Amazon tour on the 25th of March. Under training, March 21st through 25th, the National School Resource Officer Training was done. It was a 40-hour course, and the Seaford police officer attended that through remotely, like through Zoom or WebEx, something. On 3/24, the diversion program training, Take Care Delaware training was held, and all sworn and civilian staff members attended that training. So with that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Also want to acknowledge that Chief Wilson was at Gemstone event, as well as long as our Seaford EMS were there as well to keep everybody safe. So appreciate, really was nice having everybody there. All right, next we have Councilman Holland with Code, Parks and Rec.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll start with Parks and Recs. Bobby, Jerry, and Keith completed their flagger recertifications, and they held the first set of soccer games, and they began distributing jerseys. And they prepared and held both autism awareness event and Easter egg hunt, and both was a success. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming out that supported that. And they completed prep for upcoming CRP presentations, and they're in the process of coordinating an interview for full-time seasonal parks positions. And I will switch over to code. Rental inspections have been scheduled with 134 completed. Merrifield 2 has 4-unit townhouses set on foundations. A new building is near completion at East Park Business Center. An entranceway is underway at the 7-Eleven convenience store on Sussex Highway. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next we have Electric, Councilman McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a few highlights. The report itself has been submitted in its entirety. Since the last report, the crew have took delivery of our new pickup, or their new pickup, for the operations coordinator. They finished cutting the trees in the industrial park for the buffer fence. Nick Moore did some software upgrades in SCADA, and he dropped some fiber loops for Gary. Nick Moore also completed week 6 of 8 for lineman training, and Tyler Sewell completed week 3 of 8 for lineman training. Regarding our director, he had a standardized director's meeting, council liaison meeting, and had a staff meeting as well. Had a meeting with a sales rep about the light poles in Nutter Park, and got training forms printed and signed for Nick Moore and Tyler Sewell. Also conducted a Greg Brooks 5-month evaluation as construction leader, and his letter to take him off probation after 6 months. Over the next few weeks, going to continue to work in Martin Farms, continue working in Bel Air Multifamily, and Nick Smart will be going to the Navajo Nation May 15th to 21st. Pretty awesome experience from all accounts from what I've heard. If I can go off script just a moment, regarding Director Bennett, you mentioned earlier you thanked the council for our, participation regarding these awards. I would be remiss if I didn't say it's because of great leadership that you guys have out there. It's due to what you guys do, what you do as a leader out there, and what your department does as a whole. So we're incredibly thankful for your department, for what you guys do for us. I'm also incredibly thankful for the leadership we have in the city. I want to give a shout out to our city manager, Charles Anderson, economic development leader, Tricia Newcomer. I personally throw an awful lot at these two, often, probably too much, and they always reply back, it's our jobs, which I appreciate, but you should know that you do your jobs incredibly well, and we're very thankful. we have a great city leadership here. I'm very thankful for the people who are here. Gary, Jess, our chiefs, June, walking us through the budget all week long. Really appreciate you guys, so thank you so much. And before I close, I want to wish everybody a very happy Easter come up on Sunday. That's on the horizon, and election Saturday. Please get out and support your candidates. Come out and vote. I ask that if we can, everybody support your candidate. Let's do it in a proper manner. And whoever is victorious on Saturday, we move forward as a city, unified in a good direction. And that's been my report.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, we have Public Works, Wastewater Treatment, Councilman King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think there's anything left to be said.
You're all done? Drop the mic.
My report has been submitted in its entirety. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights that are happening in and around our community. I'm going to start with the Public Works Department. They've been continuing to work with the fire hydrants, flushing them out. They've installed 2 new water services on North Street. Everyone attended a flagger, a certification course. They've been working on street signs. They cleaned out one of the lift stations. They had to pull the Dolby pump. Come to find out they had a bad wire. Burley met with a contractor who is replacing the sewer line for the 7-Eleven, and work began on that yesterday. The sweeper has been out of commission for 2 weeks, but now it's back up and running. Burley, as Councilman McCoy alluded, the team has been spending a tremendous amount of time on the preparation for the budget. And they're doing all this with still one man down. Burley has put an ad out in trying to get some seasonal help. I'm going to jump over to the wastewater treatment facility. All is going well. Plant performance remains good. Some of the things that are happening over the next 2 weeks are going to continue flushing hydrants. They're going to install new speed signs on Stein Highway, and water services are going in at 321 North Street and 519 North Shipley Street. And Mr. Mayor, with that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. One thing I did want to remind people, on Friday at 11 o'clock, there is going to be a Good Friday service down at Clarence Street Church of God. They'll be gathering at 11 o'clock, so if you are looking for some way to bring in the Easter celebration, that would be a good way to do it. So with that, I will accept a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it's unanimous. Thank you.